Okay, so here we have Kitty's character. That is very complete. I'm quite happy about this one. There are some things that I recommend you to do so that it looks a bit more natural. So stuff like this, for instance, that is very well sculpted. It seems like you used the correct tools. It also seems like you moved up some stuff. I know why you... Anyway, so I'm going to join together a bunch of stuff. This is a quick tutorial. Whenever you have subtools, whenever you have modifiers, it will combine them. But in the case of this character, I think that would be nice. I'm going to select this one, combine it, and remesh it. So I'm going to combine it with a remesh. Sorry, I'm testing Blender 4. And this is generate remesh. We don't want that kind of dress because that's for a gala. But this is fine, and this way also you see this joiner is a bit better. That part that seems a bit different there is because the original one needed a bit more subdivisions. I'm going to do the same thing here, just combine, remesh. Like basically everything that, like this one, you can tell that it has, like the poly count is kind of low. If I shade it flat, you can see that it's flat. So I'll modify it by subdividing. And I'll apply, and then I'll do, well actually this one seems kind of fine. Let me do in wireframe to check out if there is, yeah, the topology is a bit weird, and that was a distracting WhatsApp message. So generate here, I'm going to do subdivision, same as before, and I'm going to apply the remesh again, very high definition. I know that one has to be aware about the definition, but the whole point of this is that I'm doing the retopology service for you. But hopefully we can learn something while doing it, right? Okay, so here we are with Kitty's character remeshed. There are a couple of things I didn't remesh, like this eyebrow, so that I just quick remesh it. There's a number there that says poly count. 1,000 might be too much for an eyebrow. This should work with 200. And this is very important because the smaller the number, the easier it is to deform it and animate it. If you have something that has too many of those numbers, that means the computer has to work too much. And therefore it cannot be updated at a fluid rate, which is around 30 frames per second. Here if I press Z and I do wireframe, you can see that the mesh is a lot better. Also, it lost a lot of definition on some parts, but that is to be expected, because now you can actually, I can pick the hair, for instance. You'll see that everything that was retopologized now says retopo. So you need to delete everything that is not visible. I congratulate Kitty on putting names under objects. That is very highly responsible. But for instance, now I can take this hair here and go into the tool, sorry, into the modifier panel and add a modifier that is going to be the subdivision, which is kind of the classical. I'll right click and turn the shade to smooth, and I'll press 2 here so I can model it a bit more. And I know that we lost some detail, but if I go into sculpt mode, let me turn on the tablet properties here very briefly. Working area now is this one. So good. Great, so now that we have here, I can actually sculpt detail much better than before. By now you know that I'm such a huge fan of this tool, of the clay buildup, but I just think it's really good. But now you can do stuff like, I don't know, add a bit more hair. Perhaps I'll leave the subdivisions to 1 and apply it. And now I know we have a small level of subdivisions, but we can do a lot of stuff. Because there's the object of doing the autorig smart, which implies selecting all of the objects, pressing get selected objects, full body, and I have to turn this because it's ideally they have to be faced, the object has to be standing on the red line, on the X line, and I'm going to say that's the neck, and it asks me here where's the chin, and I know I don't like to do automatic stuff, but there's always an exception here. Movies would be very boring if they didn't do the exceptions. And here's the wrist, here's the spine root, and here are the ankles, and I know that it looks like I'm searching for the chakra of the thing, but how many fingers it has? It has 5, I think. Yes, and then we do add a facial for how much money? I don't know. No, don't add the facial right now. I do go, and it's going to conduct some like high performance European CERN style quantum mechanic physics chakra alignment bone conducting spinning beach ball of death procedure to detect where the bone should be. Okay, so here's Kitty file. This is the 3rd time I record this video. I did had in the end I had to export the model and to re-import it. So export as an FBX with selected objects to the desktop. There you see Kitty Joy, and then create a new file and import it. Kitty Joy. In order to clean up some stuff that was not visible. I also realized that discovered by troubleshooting that there are some issues with autorigpro and Blender 4.0, so I had to remind myself and you that please try to use only Blender 3.6. Last versions of software are just for testing purposes. They are never used in production because you run into weird things, such as the fact that autorigpro in Blender 4.0 cannot do the add human edit shape command, which is very important. So here I did add armature, human, and then you can do edit shape, and that allows you to actually change it into something you can work with. Yes. So rig, I will pick up all of this component and do a smart rig with the selected objects, just a full body again. Let's hope that this time this really does work, because I'm not sure if I can keep on doing this forever. I'll do a crappy effort. I'll say no fingers because I cannot do this anymore. And I press go. It's a nice coloring, right? It does look like a chakra. Sort of. And now it did a result that it's a bit weird, and you realize why it did happen, because it got confused with the hair. Computers are a bit weird. So I'll just move it here so that it doesn't think that the hair has bones yet. I'm gonna put that here, and we have the clavicles and stuff. bounding box, make sure that clavicles are in the right place. No, that is the neck. That is the head. And of course you would be confused with the proportions of that shoe. Because the knee should be sort of like there. And the toe, more like there. More like there. And the shoe more like there. So as you see, as in all things automatic, your mileage may vary. Because computers don't really understand stuff. That's the sad truth. There you go. But anyway, not such a bad job. You can add a limb here, which is something that I find important, especially for characters such as the one of Kitty. So if you have this, it will rig. Not the whole thing. The hair will be a problem, so you still need to add a bone to the hair. So I'll add a limb to the hair, and as you can see, you can add breast, ears, head, etc. And I find that the tail is very useful. So if I do add a tail to the hair, and I make it like this, I don't know why people are sending so many emails before spring break. Sorry, I have a dual screen. And I will add another bone, another limb, which is another tail. The point is that I don't care about, it doesn't have to be a tail. I'm just choosing stuff that I think that behaves like a tail. And I'm gonna make it sort of like the size of that bang. And moving it a little bit. And add another one. One of the reasons I like tails is, I like the controllers of tails. They're good for certain animals too. You have to remember that a fish is basically a tail with a face. I know it's much more than that, but still it behaves like that in 3D terms. Now I press match to rig. And now I go into object mode. I choose everything that I want to rig. The eyes, the eyebrows, the eyelashes, the clothes, patiently. The arms, of course I want to rig the arms, the bangs. And the last thing you select is the rig itself. And then you go into skin and you press bind. And this binding system is better than the integrated Blender system. It's actually pretty good. It rarely gives you any trouble. So now if I go into pose mode and I press, say, this thing here near the head, I can move the head. It does have some issues, as you can see. And the issues are derived out of a simple thing. You see that the head is not moving. That's because there's a little thing we need to do, which is to go back into edit mode, turn on the X-rays, and we need to tell it that the tail, that is that small first bone, is attached to the head, follows the head. So I selected the little, I went into edit mode, I select the little bone, I select the head, I press Command or Control P, and I click Keep Offset, and I do the same thing here. I select this guy, shift that one, Command P, Keep Offset. Select this one, Command P, Keep Offset. And that way, the objects do follow. This is good for other things as well. Like, I don't know, I might want to integrate, for instance, I just press Shift A, so I created another bone, and I might want to use a bone just to keep clothes from deforming in like bad ways. So I'm putting one here so that the belly deforms nicely, and I'll attach this one to the, I'll select that bone, the one that I'm creating to keep like the shirt in place. I select that one, I select the back, and I press Command P for parent and keep offset. And now I can go back into pose mode. Go back into pose mode, please. And if I press on the neck, you should see this wonderful thing that the head is following. So you can see the controllers are not following because the controllers were these bones that you did not touch, but the cool thing is that if I press this control, I can still modify the hair. Which is good for stuff. And I can actually modify the bangs. So that controller is there. So actually, like, the bangs can work as independent or eyes or something. That's like pretty cute, right? But yeah, the rest of the things seem to be working fine. It can dance, which is very important. So yeah, that's how you get an animated, a character that is correctly rigged as a skeleton. So I'll clear usage transforms and save this one in place.